really depends on the project, what's needed for the film or the game. Do they want themes? Is it more ambient? What's the overall feel of the film? What's the emotional state of the individual characters in a given scene? So all that really plays a factor into what I'm going to come up with and how I write and how I start. A lot of times it's kind of getting with the director and just seeing how do they want to start? Do they have references? Sometimes they'll have temp music, sometimes they won't. If they don't have anything, sometimes it's just shoot me a playlist, a Spotify playlist with some things that kind of put you in the state that you're in or that you want for a particular scene. Maybe they have individual scenes that they want to kind of highlight and say, it specifically needs to sound like this or have this feeling. So it really just depends on what they're comfortable with. I've asked them, do you have some films, give me 3 or 4 films with a similar style to what you're going for? It's all about getting close to what they hear in their head. The closer you can get to the idea that they already have for the film or the vision that they have, the better off you are. The less rewrites you have, the less kind of back and forth. And I think ultimately the more faith the director is going to have in the project and in your writing. They may not know what they want it to sound like, but they know how they want it to feel. I've had directors just send me scripts. Those are a good way to kind of get going, get an idea for the film, just kind of know what's going on. So I think it's really good, even if you don't have a spotting session or a virtual spotting session, just to get on a web meet with them, see where they're at, see what they're thinking. What are they missing from the film? What can you do to enhance it? As you kind of develop that trust throughout the course of a project, that's where you can kind of navigate in some more creative directions, try some things out and see if the director is on the same page with you. Sometimes you go out on a limb and they love it. The creative process really just depends on the film itself and what the needs are. A lot of times what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the film several times, take some notes about parts that I feel like are really important, put notes on what I feel the music doesn't need to overshadow the acting or the individual scenes. So I'll go through multiple times, not write any music, just kind of get notes down on paper. Then I'll do a final kind of note-taking spotting session. I'll basically bring the film into the DAW, Logic, Pro Tools, whatever, and I'll really go through and just start adding markers, kind of seeing what tempos might work, more intense tempos. Some things may need a little more laid-back feel. Typically after that, then it's using some kind of piano or texture pads to just kind of develop a mood. Maybe if there's any melodies or just even chord progressions harmonically. Do I want it simple? Do I want it more complex? And that's really going to depend on what's going on the scene. If it is something that I need to back off and let more of just the movie breathe, then I will keep it pretty simple. It might be pads, kind of textural things. I will do a piano sketch, but it's piano, pads, maybe string textures, whatever it needs. But I typically try and keep the whole film, all individual parts, sketched out as simple as possible. Then after I kind of get an idea and I know a direction of where I'm going and tempos are mapped out, then I'm going to go in and kind of start adding in instruments. Usually there's a copy of that session. I'll go in, completely mute or remove all the temp stuff, and it's just there as reference. So I'll start kind of building and composing on top of that. It's not something that I'm going to copy and paste anything over. I'm going to completely compose from scratch. Once you get the green light that you're the composer, set up a process that you can kind of quickly and easily share ideas back and forth. I just recommend that the director gives me any kind of film, any scenes that they send me over to start scoring to, that it does have time code on it. So we can actually kind of make notes back and forth and we don't always have to hop on a web call. We can discuss it and know exactly what part we're talking about and there's no confusion.